For your value assignment, I will ask you to pin up some fabric onto a wall. You will then need to have a spotlight and light your piece of fabric so that it has interesting shadows. Next, you will create a 10-block value scale using all of your materials. Your value scale will go from light to dark, and you should be able to go back and forth between your eraser, your vine charcoal, your compressed charcoal, and your compressed charcoal pencil to create all of your values. Then I will have you split a piece of paper in half and create a drawing using high contrast and create another drawing next to it that has full value range. We are going to start with the full value range. I like to use powdered charcoal and put it on the page to use as a blending material. When the powdered charcoal is on the page, it makes it a lot easier for the compressed charcoal to blend into it. As you're creating your full value range drawing, I will have you refer back to your 10-block value scale to make sure you're using all of the values that are available to you. Unlike the drawing that's going to be in complete high contrast, which is just using whites and blacks, for the full value range, you want to make sure you have all the gradual shifts between the lights and the darks. The full value range drawing should look more realistic, while the high contrast drawing will look a little bit more graphic because you're choosing which areas to leave white and which areas to turn black. Okay, so this is going to be high contrast where you really have to make decisions as to where there's a shift and where you want it to be light and where you want it to be dark to still help define the shifts and the actual shape of the fabric itself. As you can see, while I'm working with the full value range drawing, I'm having to do lots of layering. I'm doing lots of layering, and at the same time, I'm doing lots of taking away. To get different value ranges, you're going to want to use your eraser as well as a blending tool. So you're not just using your eraser to take things away, but instead you're using your kneaded eraser to blend values into one another. You also want to be thinking about the pressure of your hand. When you are doing your 10-block value scale, you may have noticed that the pressure of your finger really determines what type of value you're going to get. Also remember, as you're using this technique, you're going to be doing lots of experimenting. You're going to be doing lots of blending and lots of taking away, and you're going to really need to focus on the pressure of your finger or the pressure of your eraser. You want to be thinking about all the values. So where is the highlight? Where is the transitional light? Where is the shadow core, where the object itself has the deepest darks? And where is the cast shadow? Is the cast shadow darker than the object itself? Or is it lighter? It probably depends on the color of your wall. To create a full value range drawing, it's also very important to remember reflected light. The reflected light usually is after a shadow core, and it helps define the edges of the object itself and separate it from its background or its shadow that's cast upon the background. At this stage of the drawing, hopefully you're starting to see how the values are starting to create depth within the drawing. So even though it's a 2D piece, we're creating an illusion to make it seem like there's actual depth within our piece. The darks will help it recede into the paper, and the lights will help it pop forward. Now I will let you observe what I'm doing, and hopefully you're taking note of all the shifts between the different materials that I'm using. Try to take notice of when I'm using my eraser or when I'm using my finger and which type of charcoal I'm using. So sometimes I'm going in with just vine charcoal if I need a lighter value transition, but if I need something dark, sometimes I go in with compressed, and then if it gets a little too dark after I've used my compressed, I might run over that area with a bit of my eraser, but not using a lot of pressure, just to create a bit of a lighter value than the darkest dark. Now to create our high contrast drawing, we need to make more decisions. We need to decide where the light shifts from light to dark and where we can take out those middle values, so we're really just focusing on the lights and the darks. As we're taking this information away, you're making lots of decisions. With the other high contrast piece, you're doing more observation and drawing exactly what you're seeing. Here, you kind of have to take it into your own hands and decide what's light and what's dark.